Couple hundreds of years ago, when men still used to live in caves, it wasn't safe to not be a member of a group. It was, in fact, a matter of life and death. If you ostracized or excommunicated from a group, you could die from social alienation, or some wild animals could eat you up. It was an existential matter. Growing up, I remember watching Nigerian movies with storylines that portrayed the Igbo culture, where if a person got banished from a community and other communities also reject him or her, it had grave consequences because you had to go live in the forest, or as they called it, the evil forest. And apart from the emotional trauma that you were subjected to, you have to find a way to wade off all the wild beasts by yourself. But that was centuries ago. This is 2025, and ideally, we should have moved on by now. But it does appear that this fear of rejection or excommunication hasn't really left our subconscious mind. It has subtly found its way into our DNA. We loathe the idea of being excluded from social groups of any type, whether peer groups, classmates in college, and even colleagues at work, even online followers. We hate to do anything that gets us pointed at or that gets us kicked out of the pack. We always want to belong. We want to be accepted as one of us. That acceptance is what we crave always, sometimes even at the expense of our own personal freedom and the expressions of our unique giftings. Some of us would rather compromise our inner self than be alone. Today, may I remind you that it's very safe to not belong. You can walk alone and be proud of it. I think again, you can walk alone and be proud of it. You can live out loud. You can live out loud with audacity. Welcome to another episode of the Unity Speaks podcast, and I hope you have been inspired by our recent work. Now, what does it mean to live out loud? To live out loud is to share your gift with the world unashamedly. It's to shine your light so bright and not need to dim it just because of the insecurities of others, knowing that you do them no good taking up that kind of posture. You are not scared that you'll be drawing too much attention by shining bright. No. Living out loud is to understand that every achievement or movement started with someone who dared to be seen and to be heard. You see, the world works very hard to keep every one of us quiet, to cause us to conform, to cause us to follow, to always stay on the line, to maintain the status quo, to resist change. It's the way it has always been. And now, there's a big chance something deep down inside of you is calling you to take a leap, to drive some kind of change, to make a difference, to lead a tribe. You are not alone. If you are that person who is always troubled with perennial thoughts that won't just go away, the thoughts that is always calling you to take responsibility and to add your voice to the conversations across that space, then you have got to answer the call. I personally know that I have a strong desire to make my own dent in the world. I have the innate pull to keep making a difference, to challenge popular culture, to ask why again and again. To me, if it's broken, then let's fix it. Let's not shy away from it. If our culture is creating suffering rather than joy and human flourishing, then let's do something about it in any way we can. Those are the thoughts that run through my mind. It's somewhere between bliss and pain. And it's part of the reason I exist, to play my own part and to help you see yours, to etch my name, not just on the sands of time, but in the minds of today as well as tomorrow's people, to leave behind indelible prints that communicates firmly that Unity Ivongbe was here. If you remember then, I don't know what kind of school you went, but in my school, even the list of people in the class, of students in the classroom, wanted to be seen. You see some bad guy in the class who will write on the wall. I don't know what name to use. Marcus Peters was here, or Shegu Josiah was here, because inside each and every one of us is that that star that is waiting to shine, no matter how life molds the person. I don't plan to live forever, but I hope some of the things I say and do will outlive me. I've long discovered writing and speaking as part of the tools to do so, and I'm committing to it. Whatever your own tools are, trust me, they are no less in potency. And I hope you take a leap this year. Make your voice heard. Keep showing up. Speak louder. We need to hear you. Stay consistent because people are watching. They are always watching, whether you are conscious of it or not. You know, when someone is doing something bad, he assumes everyone is watching. Even when nobody's watching, he looks for the cover of darkness just to stay out of sight. But when we are doing something noble, something praiseworthy, something good, something inspired, we are tempted to think nobody's watching us. It's not true. People are watching. Keep doing whatever good that you've committed your life to. People may not give you attention at first because, they're busy. They only want to see how much you yourself believe in what you are saying or doing. It's your consistency that will validate your message and get them to take a second look at you and what you represent. By all means, don't allow the sea of noise in our world to drown your voice. You deserve to be heard, and your message can make a difference. You know, the world is full of a lot of noise, which clutters the minds of many people. So you need to help us hear you by speaking clearer and speaking louder. The tools you need are everywhere already, and they've never been as ubiquitous as they are today at almost no cost. Social media means more than fun and pleasure. It's an enabler, it's a leverage to help you promote your cause. Use it. Speak your truth, even when your voice shakes. Now let's deal with what might be holding us back or holding you back. Some of these things are myths. For example, the voice in your head that is saying to you, how dare you? That is saying to you, who gave you the authority? Did you get a permission from the gatekeepers? That voice that is ringing in your head. I say it again, this is 2025. And we have so much individual agency than we realize. You can self-publish a book today. You can start your own TV channel on YouTube without a broadcasting license. We all have the power to start something. I was going through, I saw on the news, one, I think it was a movie producer was calling out another movie actor that there are too many movies on YouTube. And I saw that as one of the gatekeepers saying, people are starting to bypass my authority. You know, that's the kind of words that you do not need permission to shine your light, to make a difference and make a dent in the world. You know, power, like they say, I interpret it that way. Power is different from authority in this sense. You can drive a car, it's power. You've now been licensed to drive, is authority. That's why authority is given. Power is that you drive your father's car, for example. You ride in the compound, ride around the street. You might not need the license to drive because you can drive. But license is given to you by the government, that gets you empowered to drive on the road and the highway and all of that. But you agree with me that there are several endeavors where you don't need a license. You don't need permission to start out in that business. You don't need permission. If you keep waiting for permission, I take that as a form of hiding. You are hiding. Don't wait to be picked. Pick yourself. Pick yourself. The license you require is that of self-belief. And as someone will say, if you do not believe in yourself, you are already twice defeated. We know what the Bible says about, I read the Bible a bit, and sometimes many lessons are drawn from there. When Paul was saying to Timothy, let no man despise your youth. I take it that, including the man in the mirror, you should not despise your youth. You should not despise your strengths. You should not despise the gifts that you have. Do not despise it. We suffer a lot, not from what we do not have, but from the things we have and do not know how to use. You are despising your strengths too much. The man who is living out loud is the one that is asking, if not me, then who? If not here, then where? If not now, then when? That's how to live out loud. So, my wife and I had our fifth year anniversary of our business. Of course, we did have our 50th wedding anniversary last month, but this was because we started our business just immediately we got married, January 2020. From a business of 2 to a company of 20 staff. That started because we decided to not hide anymore. We decided to, put our feet out. We are leading a company of different nationalities. It takes a lot of guts to do that. It takes a lot of guts to be able to understand all that is going on, the dynamics of leading that sort of mix, But to do that, we had to dare, and to dare greatly, according to the vulnerability guru Brené Brown. If you read that book, there's a book that she wrote called Daring Greatly. At the time we started, I was in the country on a visitor's visa. My wife was a temporary resident at the time. We didn't decide to wait until we got a PR or a citizenship or whatever before we expressed ourselves. No. People suffer not for what they do not have, but what they have and despise. Think about it. Do you recognize how the many things that you have going for you? Why are you holding yourself back? Some say I can't speak English with panache. That's why I'm not going to start. The question is English language a tool of communication or of sophistication? You answer that question. Is it a tool? If I communicate and you understand me, the essence of language has been accomplished. What might be holding you back? Another point, fear of failure and rejection. You are scared nobody's going to listen to my idea. The question is, did you try? Why are you focused on everybody? Everybody does not matter. Everybody does not matter. No one says, I'm not putting this video out for everybody. That cannot be my goal. It will be foolhardy to do that. I'm looking for the minimum viable audience. The few people out there scattered around the world that thinks that I make sense I think I make sense, and they're able to take it in or two from what I'm saying and advance their cause. Someone somewhere is what I'm looking for, and that's what you should look for. If you start out putting your product or your service to the world and you want to serve everybody and you want to get the kudos of everybody, you're going to fail. You need to look for your minimum viable audience, your fans, your true fans, the people who they're able to adopt your product and service early enough before it becomes viral. What might be holding you back again? Shame and the idea of vulnerability. These are topics for another day, but we can attempt to unpack it today. The thing is, I don't make much of commentators and critics. And I like a quote, Brené Brown put it in her book, the quote by Theodore Roosevelt. It's called The Man in the Arena. I'll attempt to quickly read it to hear it. I love the quote. It says, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. No. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who spends himself in a worthy cause. I'm trying to summarize it. Who at best knows in the end the triumphs of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. That's what it means to live out loud. Even if you fail in an attempt, at least you failed trying. Shame has an equation. Someone has to give shame, and another person has to accept shame for shame to happen. That's why you sometimes hear people jocularly say you can't shame the shameless. If the person is not taking shame from you, they cannot be shamed. So you have to come out of your comfort zone. The thing is, in 100 years or less, we'll all be dead, man. We'll be gone. The shamer and the shamed will be dead, gone and forgotten. And the loss will be on you that have chosen to hide because people point fingers at you. That's why they say the cemetery is the richest place on the earth. You must come out. You must do something. I cringe when a child says, I'm shy. A child who is shy is no longer a child, in my opinion. That child has inherited the insecurities and the shame of the people around him, whether they are parents or relatives or teachers. A child is not born with shame. Where did he get it from? Okay, to put a balance to my manifesto for today, to live out loud is not to be a nuisance. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of nuisance. There are a lot of people out there on social media, TikTok, That's not what it means to live out loud, or that's not my conversation for today. To live out loud is to burn positively and allow the world watch you burn. It's to be authentic, to make your voice heard, to turn up your volume. Turn up your volume. Let's hear you. It's to allow your light shine. You don't light up and be put under a bucket. It's your responsibility to shine so bright and let the world see you. It's to take up more than you can chew. If you don't take up more than you can chew, very soon you have nothing in your mouth. That's what it means to live out loud. To live out loud is to inspire possibilities. I'll tell a quick story. So growing up, I was just getting to junior secondary school, and there was this senior friend, was my elder brother's friend. His name was Bright. Yeah, Bright. So Bright used to take me to school growing up in Lagos, Nigeria. And we go into the public bus. Bright would put me on his lap. The lap. I don't know if people still laugh. Sometimes we split the fare. And after some years, I was in GSS 3, Junior Secondary School 3. The holiday, I've just planned to go into senior secondary school. Bright had long left the school at the time. And I was going through Facebook, and I saw Bright with football stars. I saw him with Van Nistelrooy, with some other Arsenal player, with some other celebrities. I was like, this is not Bright. What has happened in a very short time? And that sowed a seed in my heart. That I said, if Bright is abroad, I think there's really nothing stopping me. I can remember where I was. I can remember how much impression that image made on me, and that seed was sown. It inspired possibilities in me. It was living out loud. It was experiencing the world and not limited to the four corners of where I used to know him. That's what it means to live out loud. That's how much destinies are tied to your expressions, and living out loud does not mean you have to be literally the loud type. There are introverts who are living out loud. There is this guy on Instagram, Kabi. Kabi doesn't say anything, and yet is loud. Kabi has over 80 million followers, and he just makes gestures and mannerisms, and he's really, really up there now. Do you get? Living out loud is about aura. It's about presence. It's about, like I said, speaking even when your voice shakes. It's about raising your finger to contribute when you are not too sure of your point. It's about bringing your active voice to a discussion. It's about, you understand that I don't want to merely concur. I concur. No, I'm not going to concur. I'm going to say what I think, even though I'm right or wrong, but I'm going to share my thoughts. You don't walk into a room with your head down. No, you walk into the room, look at the eyes of everyone, understanding that there's no one quite like you on the planet. You have a unique fingerprint. You are different in every sense. No one has got your experience. That's what it means to live out loud. So, in conclusion, this year, your goals and your dreams should make people say, "How dare you?" Should make even you get scared of yourself. And you don't need anyone's permission to do that. You are more ready than you realize. You don't need more time. You don't need another degree. I think that we live in an over-informed generation. There's just so much knowledge that leads to, like they say, analysis paralysis. People know so much about how things work, and in the bid to know that much, they take up a lot of information about how things don't work. That's the trap that we fall into. I hope I earned the privilege of your time. Go make a ruckus, break a leg, break something. Just live out loud.